start from the beginning. We'll do a quick run through of where you are and where you came from. So, born and brought up in Bangalore?
Yeah.
So, born in Bangalore, brought up in Bangalore, started with a CBSE school and was there till
7th.
Till 7th.
Yeah.
Acha, 8th mein you moved?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought later. Acha. So 8th you moved from this CBSE school called NPS in Bangalore to the international version of the school called TISB.
Yeah.
I can see you smile. So clearly there is some thought in your head.
It's a fancy school.
Huh?
Fancy school.
Fancy school.
Yeah.
TISB. International fancy school to hai. So पहले तो NPS. So first 8 years NPS, any learnings, any memory, kaisa raha? What do you think? Acha tha, kharab tha?
I think NPS is very good at what it does, as in it's like because in CBSE you need to memorize a lot. It's very good at helping build that skill. And like since I don't remember much from my NPS days, but what I can like the biggest takeaway is I think it helped like because whenever I needed to remember things for exams, it was always much easier because I came from an NPS background. But it's like unlike the CBSE, international boards give you the privilege of understanding concepts other than just memorizing them. It's sort of a different ball game, but CBSE is, I would say NPS is harder because it doesn't make you learn, it makes you memorize. But like at the end of the day, you learn more probably with the international board.
Oh, you learn more with the international board?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the difference is you have the ability to learn more. You have the facilities to learn more and you have the freedom to learn more. And you have the time to learn more. That's the difference.
So it's interesting. Let's dive a little deeper into that. So you're saying CBSE or rather NPS type of a school, jo thoda sa strict, disciplinarian, very direct about what they want from you, padhai karo, number lao type of a school. Pros are you work harder.
Yeah, but at the end, I think it makes you overwork. It's not really a pro because you work harder, but more than you actually can as well. Right? It's not like an ideal scenario that system wouldn't be there. So the pro is it gives you the platform for learning if you are going to stay in India itself. It's very strong. So it gives you like basically what you need to go forward in college. And it's recently as well, it's been really good for even if you're going abroad. Like a lot of my friends from NPS itself have gotten into colleges outside of India.
Yeah.
So I think because colleges are understanding more how difficult the board actually is, right? So I don't know. It's more rigorous. It's more demanding.
So it makes you work hard, but you're saying a part of that hard work is more than what you normally can do, and maybe even more than what you need to do.
Need to do for what?
Need to do to grow up, to do well, to do good in studies, to learn, to become a capable guy.
A lot of it is based on double learning, right? Because generally speaking, if you do a CBSE board, you stay in India, right? So
yeah, okay, as a norm, yeah.
Because so if you're doing CBSE, you're also having to prepare for entrance tests, things like JEE and stuff. So it becomes double the work, right? But so in the end, the CBSE board itself becomes a little redundant. But you still have to put a lot of work with it, and you have to put a lot of work twice, is what I'm saying. So
because साथ में you are doing coaching for JEE or NEET or whatever, so you're going to Fiji or some Byju's or some whatever, some place, Alan Akash to do some coaching. So वहाँ भी you are doing math, physics, chemistry, bio.
Yeah.
School में also you're doing math, physics, chemistry, bio.
Yeah.
So you're saying that is a duplication.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Okay. So, so duplication hai, but hard work acha, they prepare you for hard work, they prepare you for, um, yeah, they largely prepare you for hard work is what you're saying,
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing.
it's not.
Um,
It's also,
it's,
it would be better in moderation than in the extreme.
fair
But,
enough.
but to be fair, like with the population that's growing in India, that hard work is almost necessary for most people. It shouldn't be, but it is. So it prepares you for that.
What do you mean? Elaborate on that.
Uh, so the competition for students is extremely huge in India. Because there's always
Because there are so many.
because there's so many students,
Fair.
and if you want a good education, you have to go to the top universities, right? And top universities require high grades and high percentages.
Hmm.
So everyone's sort of rushing in to get like a couple of seats.
Hmm.
Uh, so you have to like push yourself. You have no choice. Like
Yeah.
how for some people, after a point, like mental health isn't an important factor anymore because you have to survive. You need the marks. So that's the
Yeah.
difference. It sort of pushes you for that hard work.
So those are some downsides also that mental health is not a priority.
It
Uh,
cannot be a priority, is the thing. Yeah.
Okay. So then why the need to, so hard work अच्छा था, focus था, सब कुछ था. So why the need to move the school? Why did you change?
Uh, honestly, I was pretty young and sort of one of my friends had already gone, and in my head it was like, okay, I want to go to the school too.
Hmm.
Uh, so I didn't have a good reasoning for changing schools at all, if I'm being honest. Uh, my main reasoning was I wasn't very much interested in academics as a whole. I wanted to do music. That was
Hmm.
my at that stage. And
Hmm.
NPS being a CBSE school, it's not great for like pursuing music as a subject, right? Because
Hmm.
it's not a core subject. It's not a board exam subject.
Hmm.
So like in TISB, I took IB music and IGCSE music, which I couldn't have done. So I think that was my main thinking factor. But I didn't have otherwise a solid reasoning based on it. Uh, yeah, I just found it very academically oriented, which again it needed to be, right? Because that's what students need. But I don't know. Since I could afford to not do it, I
Yeah.
managed to. I don't think I could have done music like I have done now without that, and I'm glad.
So the idea to move was yours. It came from you.
It started from me, and then my dad pushed it.
So your parents also helped you and
Yeah, my mom was a bit against it at first.
uh,
Uh, I don't know. I think eventually, like I don't know, after like we realized, okay, we can afford the school. It has these so and so benefits. Because my initial plan, my parents were saying, was me doing NEET and doing some biomedical. Uh, but I wasn't interested in that. So when they realized that, because I wasn't a science student, I was more of an art student. Uh, and since I could afford to do arts as well, right? In India, it's hard to do arts. Like it's hard to for
yeah.
everyone to do arts. So to do arts, needed somewhere which it was better for arts, which was an international school. And since I could afford it, I ended up.
So and how was the transition for you? How was moving CBSE school छोड़ के moving into a international school? How did that work out?
Initially, eighth grade, I found it extremely easy. I barely had to put in any hard work because I think we were pretty ahead, at least in the sciences in CBSE.
Hmm.
Uh, but after even ninth and 10th was a little easy. It's just when it came to IB, it sort of changed, like because it was at least IGCSE as well was still similar to CBSE in the fact that it was still study and do exams. IB was sort of different, so that took some amount of some amount of practice and like understanding to get used to. But the end of the day, it's like always better than taking entrance tests. So.
Okay. Okay. Um, and no settling in issues, friends.
So,
Um,
I mean, changing schools anytime you're going to have a difficulty forming friends in the first year.
uh,
I
uh,
think I would say I only like got a good friend group at the end of 10th. Right? It
okay.
took a while, but I sort of just interacted with everyone, and because I could, like, I had the capacity to, and then based on who I got along with better, I decided to be friends with them.
Okay. Okay. Any, did you find a difference in the student profile or student caliber or student, the drive that they had, or how social were they or helpful were they between the two schools?
The drive was low, guys, we definitely, because they didn't,
I was lower in the international school.
yeah, because they don't need to work harder, right? It's not because there's already a lot of things like just given to them. Like just getting into the school itself means, like paying 10 times the fees itself means you're going to go to a much better college than someone who didn't pay 10 times the fees.
Yeah, yeah.
So because you have that safety net, people generally don't want to put in more effort, or it's more of effort for the sake of effort. It's not like it's like a lot of performative stuff, right? It's like
Hmm.
magazine will get me into this program for this bake sale to raise money for charity. It'll help me get into
Hmm.
college. But it's like to do the bake sale and to do the magazine or whatever, you needed to have an amount of money to begin with. Otherwise, you couldn't.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So that's not
Hmm.
really hard work, right? Because you're not putting in anything. You're just taking what you already have. So,
Hmm.
like, because you don't need a drive to do better, people just generally don't do better. Sort of
Hmm.
like at the end of the day, it's like uh, good for them because they don't need to put in more hard work to be successful. But it's also like it's a completely different world
Hmm.
because in one world you have to work hard to even survive. In one world, if you don't work hard, you're still set for life.
And how do you feel today? Your 12th is over, or getting over in like a few days from now. School ka chapter khatam. Now it's all about college. Your admissions are done. You have good colleges in the bag. You know you're going to go. You know you will score decently well in your 12th. So then, next 4 years in a different country. Is it exciting? Is it scary? Is it? How do you feel today? Do you feel very relieved, anxious?
Uh, I mean, it's kind of a relief that I got into a good college. That I know where I'm going. But also, like getting into college is only like the start of things, right? Because now is when you start learning things properly that will get you a job. Um, like I plan on getting work experience during college in order to like save up for masters as well, and then also to make it easier to get a job after college. So sort of that sort of things you start to worry about. Sort of start to worry about which country you're going to and just the location there. Like a couple of my friends who are going to US are worried about the just the gun laws there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's even if you're going to India, like getting into college is always just the half of it. It's like you got in, but it's different for people in India. If you get into college, it is definitely the half of it. But outside, it's like if you do moderately in UBC, it's I don't know. It's sort of different. It's because that gives you a sort of safety net, right? In India, there's no such safety net.
Uh-huh.
But still, everywhere college is going to be difficult. Like college is never easy because there's always a competition. Like to get into the honors list, principal's honors list, to get scholarships, things like that. It's also have to make completely new friends because no one I know is going. So sort of getting to know people and stuff. It's like a whole new world. It's like it's not high school. It's adulthood. It's basically adulthood.
Yeah, yeah, adulthood. Yeah, that's a good point you make. Um, so, so, so finally, there is some relief, but there is also some anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. Any fears?
Uh, Not particularly. It's just because I know I'll be okay. I just uh like things like so because I'm doing like economics and political science.
Huh.
Um, Especially because I'm doing political science.
Hmm.
Just reading about politics before I go there,
Hmm.
and like whatever I learn, I can't take it directly, right? I need because at the end of the day, uh, Canada is more capitalist than India, right?
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
and like so, I need to know the bias and like the thing behind the information I've been given. Uh,
Hmm.
and if I'm arguing with someone or if I'm making a point, because I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of that in political science, I need
Hmm.
to know why I'm saying that,
Hmm.
right? So that sort of thing I want to do in the summer, so I know what I'm talking about. So I just
Okay.
not saying random things or just saying things for the sake of saying them.
Okay. Okay.
And I feel like it's really important, especially because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a foundation, I can't do it.
Yeah. So you might change your plans going forward, but today, if you had to make a decision after your 4 years of college, 4 years undergrad done, let's say University of British Columbia, graduate. After your 4 years, do you want to come back to India? Do you want to live there and work for a few years? Do you want to live there and work for a few years and then settle down there? And I know these plans might change. I mean, but
Yeah.
so, but what is a 17-year-old thinking today?
I'm thinking, so after my parents said they'd pay for my bachelor's, right? But even that, I don't know. I might have to take out a loan after like the first couple years,
Okay.
and also for masters, I'll still need to make the money for that. So the plan is if I can do something called a cooperative program in Canada where you can work along with study and you get
Hmm.
paid for that. So that can sort of help me get the fees I need for my masters. So if I don't, that doesn't happen. My plan is after the 4 years, I'll work for like how much, like 2 years maybe, get some work experience, here for masters, and then apply probably to the US somewhere for masters. Because it would be pointless coming back to India after I get that degree there, because I
Correct.
want to get a job. I like realistically, I want, especially because it's in a place like economics and political science. It's not very the job market is not huge in India.
Yeah.
Uh, and also, if I am going there, I've spent so much money to go there. I might as well get a citizenship, get a permanent residence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end, I'll be able to sustain better if I stay there. I do eventually want to come back because I do like living in Bangalore, but only if I can afford to, I will come.
So that might be 20, 30 years later.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
no,
Okay. But initially, you think there is a better life there, better opportunity there?
yeah, not necessarily only Canada, right? It's so
Western world.
just not the rest of the world either. It's just the more well-off countries, like let's say Canada, the US,
Yeah. Yeah.
or UK, just those
Yeah.
countries.
No, I said Western world.
Oh, West, yeah,
The developed Western world.
yeah,
So Canada, US, UK, Europe, countries with more developed economies.
yeah. The only thing is they have a very high cost of living, so that is
But then you're earning also in their currency, and if you're earning $100,000 and spending 40 lakhs a year, then that's fine because you're earning that much, so you can spend.
yeah. So the point is to earn the good amount of money, I'll need prior work experience, which is why I'll
Huh,
probably
huh,
go off
huh,
during that
huh.
time.
Okay, okay, cool. So we'll go into some more almost close-ended questions or very specific questions, which might make you think a little bit. And like I said, any answer is okay. There is no right or wrong answer. So one is if you had to give advice to your younger self today. So you 10 years ago, if you could advise, or 8 years ago, is there one piece of advice you'll give yourself?
Hmm. Okay. Uh, when
There's no
I
rush. There's no rush. You can think about it.
okay, I think I should read more. That's definitely one thing.
Okay, that's a very good one.
Uh,
Okay.
Not just fiction, just read more news, read more, especially since I'm doing like a field with economics, political science.
Yeah.
Read sort of like critical theories, papers and stuff like that. Even fiction. So I used to be a good reader of fiction until I was in ninth. Um,
Okay.
and then I just sort of lost it. I think during the pandemic was sort of why.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, um, but still, I would go back and I would tell myself to read more.
Hmm.
because like I think reading is a really useful skill if you have the time for it, and especially in my field which I want to do, it'll be really helpful. Like I
Okay.
spoke about how I want to do readings in the summer and stuff, right? Like I
Huh.
could have done that earlier as well. It's like there's no age specific for that stuff.
Is there one thing you want to change about yourself? It's a new world. You're starting a new innings, new chapter of life,
When
new
I go to
phase.
college,
Yeah, once you go there,
um,
new beginning.
I think automatically when you go to college, you have a better sense of individuality, right? You can express yourself more. So
Yeah.
it's, that's the only thing I would like.
Okay.
As far as my personality, I don't think I'll change anything because that's just who I am, and I don't want to change that for a specific group of friends. I'd rather have no friends at all than having to change myself to fit in with a group of people.
That's very powerful. Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, it's like my already like there's no denying it. Like things which I think about now will change when I go to college because I'll be surrounding
Hmm.
different demographic of people,
Hmm.
right? Like in India, at least, it's like I go to TIS being the 1% of the 1%, but there's other people who are in my friends who like are not like the rich, the upper rich. But if I go to college, it's like at least everyone from India who's going there has to be the 1% of the 1%, right? That's why they got in,
Right.
where they could go. So there's no one who is outside that bubble. There's barely anyone who's outside that bubble.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel like you need to know that the bubble exists.
Yeah.
As far as you can help it, you need to ensure you don't get too much into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Pretty cool. Um, in the last 4, 5, 6 years or 10 years, has your view of the world changed? Has your perception of things changed? Has your perception of family, parents, money, work, education, anything? Has your perception of anything changed drastically as you grew up?
Um, I would say I used to be the very bubble I'm talking about because I just thought that we were like a normal family, right? Uh, like all families must be like us, but it's just one were in Bangalore, which is a big city, and one were in like a richer part of Bangalore, and I go to a richer school in Bangalore. I sort of I'm starting like I of course don't fully understand it yet, like I can't, but I'm starting to trying to understand that better, and that has changed because my parents have always, I don't know, they've always given me whatever I wanted, and that's not normal. And I've started to sort of realize that.
Yeah, so what is normal for one person is not normal for another, but we still, that one person calls it normal and the
Yeah,
other person calls something else normal.
yeah,
So normal is actually not normal.
yeah.
Normal
Be-
is abnormal.
Because like even if you look at my locality, right, the houses are. I thought they were normal sized, right, for a long time. Like, oh, that's how big houses are. That's how houses are. But these are villas, bungalows. These are houses which most, like 80% of people in India cannot afford.
Oh, 95%. Yeah.
Yeah. 95% of people in India can't afford.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, that's not normal. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, I think it's normal. But it's like, objectively, that's not normal. It's not,
Completely agree.
normal is norm, right? It's what is like the given. If only 3% of the population have it, it's not a given.
Yeah.
Sort of understanding that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Completely agree. Like, what is this? Not 18, 17, but 15, 16-year-old going through? Is he going through a lot or it's like fine? Or it's today's times have made it very challenging?
Uh, I mean, bullying is unavoidable. Like any school you go to, right? It's just it's someone's own childhood uh, problems manifesting as them bullying people at the end of the day.
Very
Uh,
mature. Yeah? You're very like a psychologist you're speaking. Huh?
yeah, but it's unavoidable, and whichever school you go to is going to be there.
Right, right.
It's there in international schools as well, for sure. It's just again, you can't surround yourself with that number of people. Like
Sure.
um, it's hard because everyone wants the validation of friends, even if it's 50% of the time validation, 50% of the time calling you names, right? You still want it. Everyone craves it. It's just what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But it's hard to just think about it. It's like, is this good for me? Is this making me feel happy? Would I be happier without it? Most of the times, it's yes, I would. So it's sort of understanding what your priorities are,
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
and what actually makes you happy.
hmm, hmm.
It's difficult for a lot of people. It's not easy because every school has bullies, and every bully has a group of friends who are the popular gang, right?
Ah,
Um, so it's hard to do that, but it's sort of, you just need to understand what type of person this is, and
hmm, hmm.
they really, do I really want to entertain this? Like, I'm not even going to say stand up to them because that's not easy at all. Just
Sure,
avoid them, and if you can help it.
sure, sure.
And if it gets a lot, all schools have authorities where you can go tell them that this is happening.
Does that work? I mean, you go to an authority, the authority screams at that other kid, the other kid becomes a bigger bully to you, or
Yeah,
no?
that's definitely a scenario as well. Like that, uh, like they can get more angry because you did complain.
And you're
It's
scared, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm assuming most people don't really complain.
at that point, I'd just say get a good group of friends. Like that's the most you can do to help
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. So you're in a secure environment. No, that's a great advice. You got a good group of friends. Okay. The one thing that you're most proud of from your journey till now, what is the one thing that you're most proud of?
It's very specific. My improvement in music. Uh, because I used to only do classical piano,
Hmm.
but with 11th and 12th, I went fully into jazz, blues music. I'm proud of it because it's completely different, and I became pretty good at it, and it was something I really enjoyed. So I would say that's
Okay.
I'm I'm not I'm proud of. I think I try to be my ears always open. I try to keep my ears always open and not close-minded. But if I have a point, like I know it's true. I'm not going to be easily swayed by it. So
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think I have a good ability to grow as a person.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Very good. Very nice. Anything you're ashamed of?
The times where I don't grow. Uh, no, it's sometimes I have a mental block, like I just do. Sort of someone's trying to tell me something, or like I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn something.
Yeah.
Sort of just it's not going completely in because I'm not willing to let it go in because of some predetermined knowledge I have, or a predetermined thing that, oh, I don't know physics, it's hard, so I'm not going to study because it's so hard.
Hmm.
Right? That's not going to help anyone. You have to
Hmm.
listen
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
both studying and both what your friends are telling you about things around you.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Any
Yeah.
regrets you would want to go back and change, or you wish you had done that, or you wish you had not done that, or
I don't think so because this is like the ideal scenario at the end of the day.
brilliant.
Yeah, I was just lucky at the end of the day. Like 90% of it was luck.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Um, any idea about what you would be doing 10 years from now? What you would want to be doing? What's the dream of a 17-year-old coming out of an international school, going to Canada?
I want to ideally want to do policy making. Like
Policy making. Okay. Pretty
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
that's the plan for now at least. And for that I need to properly learn and read stuff. Uh so there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work left to do.
Yeah.
But it's what I would like to do.
Is any specific area? Is there a policy you disagree with that you'd like to change, or a belief that you disagree with you would like to change through policy making?
On surface level, I definitely have a lot of those, but I feel like I'm not gonna talk on them until I know properly what they are. So I'm just going
Sure.
to go in, learn about what it is in college, and
Sure.
then
Sure.
with proper understanding of why are the way they are and why
Okay.
they should be that way, I would make a decision on which where to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, and hopefully this is the last question. I keep adding more questions. Um, with all this chat GPT, AI, machine learning. Um, the world is changing at a very radical pace, right? What do you think about the way education is? Is education preparing people for the future?
I mean, education really should be optional, right?
Mhm.
Uh, After a certain level, like after, like, say 10th, it should be optional. Like, it is optional, to be fair, but it should be optional in a way that you're not going to, like, suffer because you didn't do it,
It
right?
should not be a prerequisite to get a job.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, now you need college to be employable
Hmm.
or to get a good amount of salary. That shouldn't be the case. If you're capable, you just should get it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, so the thing is, at least the Indian education system is very much that you have to put in this amount of work to get into a good college. And that amount of work is an insane amount of work, which ideally a human shouldn't be doing, but they have to do, right?
Hmm.
But I don't know how much it actually, like, it helps them immensely because without it, they won't get a job. Like, in that way, it helps them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but uh, and helps them get a job as well at the end of the day. It's just you have to get to college to learn at the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
And your first to 12th aren't learning, it's preparing for, it's like making your studying so much that you get into college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ideally, it should be you learn in the first couple years as well, right? And not just
Yeah.
memorize things. Uh,
Yeah.
so things with things like Chat GPT and stuff, it will change the education system a lot. Maybe not for people who are doing CBSE and ISC because it's pretty much the same. But for an
Hmm.
international school where you'll have a lot of things like writing, right? uh, ChatGPT gives you a huge advantage. Like, added on to the advantage that you already have.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think at least IB was discussing this already. I saw, but they
Hmm.
changed the system on how they do it in order to fit
Hmm.
the education system.
Hmm.
I don't think India can help it. Like, at this point, it's not just easy that you can help it, the education system the way it is. It is because that's the way things are structured, right?
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, there are only a limited amount of jobs in the market. There are only a limited amount of um, seats in college. So the education system has to be this competitive for it that to even take place. So before you change education, you need to change the job creation and the availability of colleges and things like that.
Yeah.
But for, like, the international board, it's like the most 1% of people do. The boards are changing. It should become more dependent on your own creative work. I think there's a way you can also figure out whether you have taken something from ChatGPT or not now.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But again, that'll just evolve more and more in the future.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not really sure how we can keep up, but, like, we need to figure out a way.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Have a great rest of the weekend.
You
All
too,
the
sir.
best for the exams. I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I will speak to you soon.